Howdy, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jay's Geek House. To which some people are like, what? Yes! Only now, finally, are the actions pastiches taking place in the Geek House. Yes, I know. The sofa's kind of fluffing a little too. It's certainly happy to be here. It survived the trip. So yeah, one of the things about the Ashens pastiches on this channel is that they're not very time sensitive. Matter of fact, I was wondering if anybody would notice last go round when I mentioned that when I mentioned something about March on a video that I uploaded in February. Yeah, well, right. The truth is that the footage that you saw in the previous pastiches is from March of last year, 2015. It literally took me that long to get around to finishing the darn things up. I need to quit being so lazy. But anyways, I also have what was supposed to be the season finale of this season of Ashens pastiches. That is not going to be the season finale. I've decided against it, because I found a couple more pastiches worth of stuff to make fun of in this new locale. So, there will be a couple of awkward episodes, uploads, videos, whatever you want to call them, as I go through and cut up what was supposed to be the season finale of this stuff, whatever you want to call it. Assuming I even use any of that footage in the first place, but it does have some potential. Well, with a new locale, as you can imagine, I went to check out some of the cheap stuff stores around here to see what lurked within. And it just so happens that for dollar stores, I haven't been to the dollar store yet, although I have found one that I will be checking out at some point. But in terms of dollar-ish stores, like Family Dollar and Dollar General, that aren't real dollar stores but still have dollar in the title, I have since become acquainted with the local Family Dollar, which I actually find to be a pretty decent place to shop. They have canned mixed vegetables on sale for roughly the same price as Aldi, at least when they have them in stock. But that's a completely different discussion altogether. So as I've become acquainted with the local Family Dollar, I decided that the first Ashens pastiche here in this geek house, at least that makes it onto YouTube, will be a Redux of sorts, kind of meeting up with an old friend, so to speak. That old friend is none other than Southgate Estofado de Res, also known as Southgate Beef Stew. New logo, similar to the newer Southgate stuff that I've talked about, and a bigger can. Oh yes, things get bigger. For only a quarter more, you can go from, 15, 17 ounce at the dollar store to 24 ounce at this Family Dollar. So maybe it's more bang for buck if you pay attention to unit price and stuff like that. So yes, our old friend Southgate Beef Stew with its textured vegetable protein product, something that I've learned about since my first run-in with this stuff. Textured vegetable protein product is a food-based meat filler. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's food, duh. Well, yeah, it is technically food, but anyways, textured vegetable protein product is a soy-based meat filler type thingamawhatsit that you can find in things like soy burgers or El Cheapo. I can't believe it's not meat patties like the Flanders burgers you find at Walmart and stuff. There's a certain taste to them that it's hard to explain, but if you've ever had the big orange box of Flanders beef patties that have beef hearts and textured something or another added to them, you know, the super cheap beef burgers where you wonder why with beef prices these days, how the heck it can be so cheap? Well, that's why it can be so cheap, because of our old buddy textured vegetable protein product. But again, it is USDA inspected, whatever that means nowadays. And there goes old Clunky. More proof that we are in the Geek House. And pardon the background noise, it's Thursday night. Things can get a little rowdy around here. So, let's take a look at the serving shenanigans. The cans are, of course, still bilingual. Estofado de res, con producto de proteína vegetal texturizada. Yeah, I can't pronounce that stuff for rubbish. Right, let's take a look at the label. Serving shenanigans. Triple all of the numbers on here. So your saturated fat. The dollar store can was your saturated fat for the day, and the sodium was your sodium for the day. So I guess that going over those limits means I'm pretty much guaranteed to put on weight by eating this stuff, and I will probably have some serious indigestion sometime much later tonight. So I don't eat a lot of canned stuff with lots of salt bomb crap anymore. For obvious reasons. It's not healthy. But at least we have ourselves a date. A Best Buy date of May 2020. Yeah, this stuff's made to last, isn't it? Alrighty there. This can, if you eat a can of this stuff, forget it. Just go watch the original. I'll put a link in the description of the original dollar store beef stew rubbish. So anyways, we have water, beef, potatoes, carrots, textured vegetable protein product consisting of soy flour, with soy flour and caramel color. I know that textured vegetable protein product is an ingredient in and of itself. Oh yeah, I don't think this was HD the last time I talked about Southgate Beef Stew. So we are seeing this in HD glory, even though I upload in 720p because the file size is a lot better that way. Tomato paste, salt, dehydrated celery. Celery is healthy, isn't it? Dehydrated onion, sugar, caramel powder, paprika, black pepper, and celery seed. Contains soy, because the textured vegetable protein product is soy-ish, yeah. Hey, well, at least I'm not saying salted nut roll this go around. Alright, now to make things interesting, because we've already reviewed this product, I decided to put it side by side and really blow my diet goals for the day and guarantee myself to gain weight and have indigestion later tonight by taking our old friend Southgate Beef Stew and comparing it to the far more mainstream Dinty Moore. Also sold in the same store, although unfortunately in smaller cans. This sucker is 20 ounce, whereas the Southgate is 24 ounce. Except, this might actually have stuff that looks like beef in it, and no sign of textured vegetable protein product anywhere. But it's gluten-free. Hey, wait a minute. Aw, no gluten-free thing on the Southgate? Oh, I feel so shortchanged. Anyways, the Hormel Foods classic Dinty Moore, which I compared the Southgate to last time I did this sort of thing. Alright, well, let's take a look at this. So, 2.5, so, just grab your calculators, people. 200 something, saturated fat per serving is 20% versus 50% in the Southgate Beef Stew. So, if you're gonna eat processed crap, this stuff is... How about sodium? Okay, so this can be your sodium for the day. 41% of your day's sodium, yes, keep it in the shot, versus 46%. So, yeah, cheap, which is why I first encountered this stuff in the dollar store. Oh, it's £1.50 too, interesting. Alright. So, we have roast beef sandwich with this stuff, Apparently, you can use this as an ingredient as well. Hormel's that. Anyway, ingredients on them. Let's compare the Dinty Moore. Beef stock, beef potatoes. Oh, look, beef is the #1 thing on like, water. Well, beef, potatoes, blah, 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 blah. Beef, potatoes, carrots, 2% or less of beef fat, corn flour. Oh, look at that. And here I was thinking I was getting away from the textured vegetable protein product by buying the mainstream brand name stuff. Boo! Well, at least it has no preservatives. There's no disclaimer on the can, just the USDA thing about textured vegetable protein product. So, in a way, the Southgate is actually more honest. Hey, this stuff has I can't believe it's not meat somewhere in it. Although it's probably more pronounced in this than it is in the Dinty Moore. Boo! Please refocus. Soy flour, caramel color, so there's some soy in this stuff too. What's Dinty Moore beef stew coming to these days? Salt, tomato paste, modified cornstarch, potato starch, mushroom extract, maltodextrin, baby, caramel color, blah, 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 blah. Hormel Foods in Austin, Minnesota. Oh, yes, from Austin, Minnesota. Disodium inosinate disodium. Shall we just eat something, shall we? I'm getting kind of hungry, and this is messing with me. What's the date on this stuff? Aw, December 2018. Boo. Okay, so here's the thing. Bigger can, El Cheapo garbage, nutritional disaster, slightly less nutritional disaster. You get textured vegetable protein product either way. Just this one actually brags about it. Price difference. Considering everything we've rattled off so far, a quarter. This was, I think it was $125 versus $150. That's it. That's the difference between stuff worthy of an Ashton's pastiche and stuff that's allegedly way more mainstream national brand. Whatever. Okay, it's time to reunite with an old classic and save this one for... Well, actually, we'll have that afterwards. This is going to be a comparison video to make it interesting, and it's certainly probably going to be a longer pastiche. Righto! Let's get everything prepared and do this stuff for whatever. We need more tools, darn it. That's better. I'd like to not burn the couch or risk us spilling something on it. I can't remember if this is a dollar store bowl or not. But I definitely know that this is an Aldi spoon. Howdy, folks. Oh no, I'm upside down. This time, though, I've come prepared. Now, if I do remember right, last time we opened a can of this stuff, it smelled like a barn or something like that. Let's see if anything has changed over at Southgate. Does this actually say on the can? Well, we'll check it while it's going around. There's Estofado de Res. Packed by Southgate Foods, Nashville, Tennessee. Glad to see this stuff still coming out of Tennessee, even though it's a nutritional disaster. Oh, wait, I already went around. Okay, let's smell the can. No! No, absolutely not. The barn smell is gone, but unfortunately we have this. Okay, we have the orange stuff. Didn't we have, like, streaks of stuff in Chile a while back? But, yeah, alright, so let's get this stuff into the bowl. Let's just get this stuff into the bowl. See what we have to work with here. So, yeah, I mean, much like... This actually looks a bit more like stew than last go-around, or maybe I'm mixing it up with something else. Oh, there we go. There's our stuff stuck to the bottom of the can, the orange stuff, whatever that is. It disappears. It disappears when we microwave it, of course. Ay. Alright, maybe it's some carrots or it's paprika or something. I know paprika's kind of reddish. Ah! And reason number one why I'm using this thing on the sofa has just flown out of the bowl. Alright. Well, there's only one thing left to do after that, of course. Toss it in the microwave. Okay, our old friend is fully cooked, and I tried to mix it, but there's still some streaks that make it look like blood and grease or something like that. But alright, enough grossing people out. Darn it, we're trying to eat here! The horrendous-looking paper plate behind the beef stew can is actually the kabooms and explosions. I'm just going to leave that there so we can compare which beef stew... Let's center this a little better in the shot. So we can compare which beef stew does more kabooms and explosions over a 5-minute period. So, doesn't this look really nice? Let's see if we can at least get rid of the red splotches and stuff like that before we try some of this stuff. So you know how you cook popcorn, right? And you know when it's done because the popping slows down? Well, you know this stuff is done when the explosions start up. Okay, there's a piece of what passes for beef. I'm guessing this is the textured vegetable protein product. Let's see how tasteless it is. Actually, no, we'll do that later. For now, though, yeah, it does look like beef stew. Let's see if it tastes like something besides a mouthful of grease. I don't have high hopes, and I will not be doing this in front of the camera here, so, ready? A little occupational hazard. Alright, Southgate Beef, well, let's put in the shot, with the splotchy plate. Southgate Beef Stew Redux, in 3, 2, 1. Mmm. Mmm. The same old gristly, greasy mess that people love. Now with added textured vegetable protein product. I am taking one step closer to the grave by doing this. Oh, big piece. Right. The interesting part about eating this stuff is that it's like a game. It's like a guessing game where you try and guess what's really beef and what's really textured vegetable protein product. Now, it does taste like beef stew, albeit incredibly greasy beef stew. And about the only thing the textured vegetable protein product does is take away some of the beefiness of the flavor and stuff. So yeah, I suppose if push came to shove, you could actually enjoy this stuff. Maybe there's some fans of it that'll be roasting me in the comments shortly after I upload this thing. But as usual, I don't like letting food go to waste, so even though this could very well kill me, I'm going to finish this before proceeding. Heck, I'll even go so far as to wash the bowl before we do the comparison with the Dinty Moore. Southgate Beef Stew, everybody. Just what the doctor ordered, right? I'd tilt this. That's what adjustments are for. Although maybe I should have used the dollar store plastic thingy instead of an actual bowl. Lovely. Can you spot the textured vegetable protein product? Ah, yes. Even though the chunks kind of look like dog food. Well, anyways. Ah, yes. Southgate Beef Stew. When it comes to Ashen's pastiches, it's the gift that keeps on giving. As Lurch would say, yeah, this stuff may be a big mouthful of grease, but at least it's filling. I may be a fat ass, but in my old age, I really can't be eating multiple cans of this stuff like I used to. So, after I finish this little, sofa showdown, I guess I better put in the splash screen for it right about...
Sofa showdown.
There we go. Yeah, after we get this little thing done, I think I'm done for the night. Done as in strung out on the sofa or something like that. Well, at least the sofa's next to the computer in this new setup, in this new place. Right. Alright, it's time for the Dinty Moore round, because we compared the Southgate to Dinty Moore at some point, so let's see how Dinty Moore is doing nowadays. I'm guessing a bit more flavor, and the textured vegetable protein product won't be as noticeable. First off, no orange streaks. It's actually a proper brown color when you take the lid off. Oh, and by the way, didn't need the can opener. Handy that. Thanks to the pull-off lid thingy. Of course, we're dealing with Hormel now, so we're up to national brands. And check it out. I can actually pour the beef stew out of the can. I can actually pour the stew out of the can without having no orange streaks on the bottom. It's not much better for me, but maybe this stuff will save me from the disaster that I have unleashed upon myself by eating some more Southgate. Hopefully for the last time. It's a lot less of an issue. It is a lot less of an issue to get this stuff out of the can compared to the Southgate, and it actually looks a lot less like crap. So, same deal as before, 2 paper plates, see what it does for kabooms and explosions, see what it looks like when it's done, hint, probably not a lot of crap. Dig in, call it a video, and hope I don't drop dead of something tonight, because I don't know what the chemical reaction is between that crap and Dinty Moore. I guess we're gonna have to find out the hard way. There's our comparison for the kabooms and explosions after a 5-minute period in the microwave. Different color, a little bit less of it than the Southgate. But anyways, that's what paper plates are for, folks, I think. Well, it's one use for them anyways. And that's what we have to deal with. Beef stew that actually looks like beef stew. Doesn't have any orange stuff or any streaks of anything. You can actually see what everything is. Meanwhile, textured vegetable protein product. Okay, that's it. I'm calling the food, babe. Ingredients you can see and pronounce? Whatever. I know what this stuff tastes like, but just for completion's sake, Dinty Moore Beef Stew in 3, 2, 1. Yep. Not as big of a mouthful of grease as the Southgate Big Surprise. It is interesting, though. The beef tastes different, but the beef tastes a little different, but it also has different texture. It's actually way more in line. It actually tastes more like beef. So despite the fact that we found textured vegetable... Let's try that again. It's messing with my head now. Despite the fact that we found textured vegetable protein product, yay, in the ingredients list of Dinty Moore, I'm not tasting it. Unless, I don't know. This stuff tastes a lot more like it's not a giant mouthful of grease, even though the nutrition isn't all that much better on this stuff. But when it comes to beef, oh, there's a big piece right there. Yeah, there we go. Actual beef with the texture of beef. Good stuff. The issue here is, though, I don't know what the story is with Hormel. I don't know what the story is here with Hormel, though. It seems like whenever I have the Hormel version of something, it's lacking in, like, the punchiness of the flavor. This stuff tastes like beef stew, much in the same way that the Southgate stuff tastes like a really greasy, cheap beef stew. That's what I was meant, like this. Much in the same way that kind of tastes like beef stew. But I would think that this stuff would actually be a little more flavorful than this, instead of just being only a tiny bit more. I don't know what it is with Hormel, but it's processed, mass-marketed, whatever. But I would say that the quarter difference in price is most certainly worth it. Now, once again, to not waste food, let's finish this up. Okay, everybody. That is how you don't waste food. Mercy rule.
Textured vegetable protein product. It's what's for dinner. Nah. That slogan doesn't seem to work either. Anywho.